Yes, we can.
I have the thumbs up, so I am going to call the meeting to order. We acknowledge that the land we stand upon today is the traditional territory of Attawandaron, Anishinaabe, and Haudenosaunee, as well as the Lenape peoples who have long-standing relationships to the land, water, and region of southwestern Ontario. The local First Nation communities of this area include the Chippewa of the Thames First Nation, Oneida Nation of the Thames First Nation, and Munsee Delaware Nation. We acknowledge the treaties that are specific to this area. Treaty 2, the McKee Purchase, Treaty 3, Between the Lakes Purchase, Treaty 6, London Township Purchase, Treaty 21, Longwoods Purchase, and Treaty 29, Huron Tract Purchase. We value the significant contributions both in the past and the present of local and regional First Nations of Turtle Island. We acknowledge the historic and ongoing injustices that Indigenous peoples endure in Canada, and we affirm our commitment to honoring Indigenous voices, nations, and cultures, and to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect. I'll look to council. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, then there's just one little item. I would formally like to welcome the newest member here of our council. Dave Manders is joining us as councillor to fill in while the normal seat is occupied by Kathy, but he's covering for her. So welcome, and know that we're here to help you and support your orientation and make sure that you can represent your municipality the way you'd like to. So welcome aboard. Okay, approval of the agenda. Could I have a mover and a seconder that the agenda be approved as presented? Councillor Grantham and Councillor Clark, thank you. All in favor? And that is carried. We have two sets of minutes. The motion before us is that the minutes of the March 26th, 2024 meeting at the of the county and the minutes of the March 26th, 2024, pardon me, closed session of council be approved as presented, and that the recommendations made by committee of the whole as set out in the minutes be adopted. I have Councillor Smybert and Councillor Robb. All in favor? Thank you kindly. That is carried. New business now. We have the activity report that is to be moved and seconded unless there are questions. I don't see any, so could I have a mover, please? Councillor Brennan and Councillor Manders. All in favor? And that is carried. Are there any inquiries? I don't see any. Notices of motion, none. Okay, councillors' comments and other business. Okay, moving right along then, we can move to the committee of the whole. The motion before us is that the committee of the whole convene at 1:03 p.m. And I have Councillor McMillan and Councillor Manders. Thank you. All in favor? And that is carried. Okay. Now, the next item up is delegation. We're going to have an update on the 2024 employment benefits renewal highlights. Okay. And Jessica, would you like to introduce our speaker, please?
Thank you, Warden. Today, I bring forth a report on the renewal of the county's benefit program for the period spanning April 2024 to March 2025. This is an administrative process, and therefore I have asked Kevin Routley from SelectPath to provide an overview of the county's benefit program and renewal.
Okay, so if you'd like to take it away, the floor is yours. And did you want us to stop with questions in between?
We can do it however you would like to do it. I can take them during. It's probably more timely if I put something up and they want to ask a question, that I could answer the question at that point, if it's relevant to the slide. If it's general, maybe they could wait till the end.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out then. The floor is yours, and go ahead.
Thank you, Warden. Yeah, I represent the big contingent that you probably have coming through here with decreases in overall costing year to year. Your employee benefit program is going to see a 3.9% overall decrease. Slide 1, please. in your overall premiums. Just a bit of history. I came into your program last year. My former partner, who had been managing your program for several years, died suddenly. So I took it over, and for the last year, Jessica Naw and I have been able to meet regularly to get the program to a stable factor. So I'm going to give you the highlights here representing my company, Select Path Benefits. Your benefit programs broke down into what I call 3 areas. One is your pooled benefits, which includes your life and long-term disability, your disability coverages. Those benefits we are changing, or we did change to a new vendor, and we were able to decrease your premiums by 27.9%. That's been the sticky wicket for your program for several years, and I'll highlight that in the next slide. Your extended healthcare program is going to see a 6.6% increase, represent mostly a trend increase in the overall utilization of the program. Those benefits are experience rated, so your loss ratio is reflected relative to a target by the insurance carrier. Your dental program runs as administrative services only. We call it ASO. You might know it as well as being self-insured. Your dental program is self-funded. And it's in a surplus position, which deteriorated a bit in 2023, but remains fully funded relative to what reserve requirements would be. But as a result of the overall utilization, I recommend a 19% increase in premiums. Next slide, please. As you can see in the green table, your long-term disability rates, it really took off in 2021 as a result of utilization. High utilization relative to the pool. Again in 2022, and last year when I sat in front of you, I was forecasting a decrease in claims and an expected decrease in overall premium, which we were able to get down. So relative to your 2023 numbers, I'd like to offer a correction in your pooled benefits. It used to make up 36.8% of your overall premium. Is now down to 27.6, which benchmark against our book of business is in range. You can see on the far right table, the decrease in claims that were commensurate with the decrease in overall premium. So this is good news. We've put you with a vendor that will provide a 2-year rate guarantee, and we'll stabilize that rate this year and next. Next slide, please. Within your extended healthcare program, your drug utilization has decreased year over year. I've shown the information relative to 3 time periods, January 2021, all the way to the period 2023, with the far right column showing the change in overall claims amongst the 2 periods. So you can see paramedical practitioners is dollar-wise your biggest change in cost. The fact that it's not drug is always a good thing. But the paramedical changes, result of contract changes that have occurred in your collectively bargained agreements. Hospital in another country show as a big percentage on a small dollar amount, so it doesn't show much relevance, but we do feel that we can get the paramedical costs to stabilize in the next year. And we'll talk about that further. Next slide, please. Relative to paramedical practitioners, the ones that mostly drive municipalities are chiropractor, massage therapy, mental health practitioners, and physiotherapy. You're seeing chiropractor and massage therapy with the greatest overall dollar increase. Once again, relative to changes in the collective bargaining agreements. Okay. Next slide speaks to your drug program. What I've highlighted on the left tables is the current period on top of the previous period, showing your top 10, what I'll call disease states, number 1 of which remains rheumatoid arthritis, number 2 being multiple sclerosis. 6-year claimants within the overall program had claims greater than $10,000, which drives something called the stop loss program. Stop loss program is a reinsurance built into your program, shown on the table on the far right. You can see that although you do have 6 stop loss claims, your stop loss overall utilization is decreasing, another positive. that's coming about from some biosimilar drugs coming onto the marketplace and decrease in overall drug costs. Next slide, please. Your dental program, it's set up as an administrative services only or self-insured program. Program's in a surplus position of $195,000, less Adelaide's proportion, which is $34,055. One thing to note is the surplus has decreased year over year by $39,000 as a result of utilization. The major categories that are driving everything are periodontal scaling, which is when the hygienist cleans your teeth, minor and major restorative, and orthodontics. This is just general usage through the program, and the one that I would say would least recur would be orthodontics because it's a lifetime maximum. The biggest concern we've seen with the dental program over the past several years has been the fee guide. Fee guide in 2021 was 4.6%. 22 was 4.75. And 2023, it was 8.5%. What a fee guide is it's a cost per dental code that the dentist can charge to a benefit program and have the claim paid fully. So all the numbers that you see in the table at the top table on the far right, the percentage increases, anything above 8.5%, it is utilization. It isn't just fee guide. Okay, but the thing to note is from 2021 to 2024, you had a 20% compound increase in your fee guides. And for 2024, you're going to see another increase in fee guide of 4.8%. So although we have lots of money in the reserve, I believe in, like most of you, we believe that reserves are important to the foundation of programming, and we need to be accountable. We need to acknowledge the fact that the fee guide is driving a lot of the costs of the dental program. Kind of pulling it all together in the overall rate review. You can see that on average, where we finally got your program to with the fix on long-term disability, the average program increase over the last 5 years was 1.4%. I'm sure that's in line with every one of your other costs right now. Doesn't seem to see much inflation hitting you. That was a joke, but it didn't go over very well. Health and dental have obviously outperformed the CPI over 5 years, and they've outperformed relative to your peer groups in the municipal world. So your employees have a program that is a fair and rich program, but it's being utilized with care. So everyone should be commended for the efforts put into the program. And the final point I'd say is the pooled benefits have been stabilized. So if I was to sit in front of you and to give you a red light, yellow light, green light scenario, I'd say your green light, the state of the employee benefit program is stable. Most specifically, your pooled benefits have finally stabilized and will be guaranteed for the next 24 months with cost levels that are back to 2020 levels. Your extended healthcare claims should stabilize provided the paramedical claims level off. There wasn't a lot of laser claims that showed up within your drug utilization outside the ones that we're currently dealing with in the stop loss program. I'd expect your healthcare utilization to increase by 6 to 7% annually. I'll say for the next 3 years. I'll just look out 3 years. As your collective bargaining sessions occur and benefits change, we always increase the rates because it's important to reflect the premium required to pay the claims instead of being stuck with a larger increase at the end of the year. Your dental program, your self-insured dental program increase in premium should cover off all the increase in claims that I would expect or foreshadow in 2024. And should allow for a reestablishment of some of the reserves that we lost in 2023. Okay. But the biggest issue I do see now and going forward is the dental fee guide increase. It will remain a challenge. And the fallout still left to be seen on what the national dental program is going to do in the dental market. It could go one of two ways. But provided the forecasts hold up from what Jessica, Noah, and I have worked through, we feel comfortable that 2025 it should come in well less than 5%. And the dental surplus, if we do see an increase, can always be utilized to stabilize any change that would happen in 2025. So I see this year and next being quite positive on the benefit program. And that's it. I put the floor to anybody that might have a question on any of the numbers that I've shared or employee benefits in general.
Thank you, Mr. Routley. I'll look to council. Are there questions, clarifications needed? Councillor Smybert?
Through the warden to the consultant. Thank you very much for this good news that whenever you see a decrease in benefit premiums, that's always a good thing to see. Just respect to the excuse me, the dental fee guide. Sorry. Is there anything that we can do, or are there any advocacy work that can be done to address that concern?
In a short answer, I would say no, which probably isn't what you'd like to hear. The Ontario Dental Association fee guide is dictated by their association. There was a big loss incurred by many dentists during COVID, and it seems that they're making up a little bit for lost time relative to the expenses that they incurred with the changes that happened in their industry. 4.8 is better than it was last year at 8.5. So I see it is getting better. I think it will start to stabilize. I had said originally, when we speak about the federal dental program, it could go one of two ways, and I didn't really explain that well. It could go one way where the national or federal government program negotiates a fee guide less than the insurance carrier's current Ontario Dental Association fee guide is currently set at, to which I would expect our lobbying association, the Canadian Life and Health Insurance Association, to push back on the ODA at that point, because if they could deliver services to a federal government program at a lesser cost, then why not our clients? That's one way I see it going, and the other way I see it going is it could create a shortage in dentists, which could ultimately drive up costs in your fee guide next year. So it could go one of two ways. I can't predict that future. I'm sorry.
And Councillor Rob?
No, thank you, Warden. That does answer my question. It was dental related as well, and where we see it going in the future.
Is there anyone else? Okay, seeing no one, I'll just express my thanks for the report and good news. It's always nice to see good trends and money savings. So appreciate it, and we'll look forward to seeing which way it went next year.
My pleasure, Ward.
Okay, thank you. Alrighty, there's a motion before us that the 2024 employment benefits renewal highlights presented be received for information. Need a mover, please, and a seconder. Councillor Smybert and Councillor Clark. Thank you. All in favor? And that is carried. Moving on to our reports. The first item up is the proposed plan of subdivision for the municipality of North Middlesex, file number 39 TNM 2023. And Dirk, the floor is yours.
Thank you, through the warden. This is a 2.5 hectare, 6-acre property in the hamlet of Leary. And the development would be not giant, but would create 7 lots for single detached dwellings in a small hamlet rural setting. The lands are designated in the North Middlesex official plan for this sort of development. The report gives a short summary of the issues from the perspective of the county, and I'll just hit a couple highlights. I would note that North Middlesex Council did support the submission at their March meeting. An agency and ministry circulation was undertaken, and all of the comments received either have been addressed or can be addressed as conditions. I won't go into the policies in detail, other than just to note, as you know, the provincial policy statement certainly does direct development to fully serviced urban areas. However, there is still provision for development to incur on partial services in a circumstance like this, where the soils and engineering, et cetera, demonstrate that it's appropriate over the long term. So, and that is, in my opinion, the case. So I am recommending approval, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for that report. I'll look to council. Are there questions? Councillor Grantham?
Thank you, Warren. Just more a comment. I support this and I'm going to state why, because it's good to see the words hamlet settlement area, because I know in my own municipality, I'm pushing for some of the smaller hamlets to have some development in them. And I think it helps the smaller hamlets grow and thrive. So I want to pass that on to Councillor Rob. I think this is a great use of growth and allowed in hamlet areas. I think this is something that I would support.
Councillor Rob?
Thank you. Through the warden, to my colleague, I know it's only 7 units that are being built, but in a small hamlet, 7 units is quite an impact. And just, we got to remember that around the table, that we did have a lot of input from the community on this until they were satisfied that answers were given. And the person doing the building didn't provide those answers. But 7 is a large number when there's maybe only 9 houses in the hamlet to start with. So there's a definite impact, and we got to make sure we listen to those people as well. But I think too, it's a good use of that property.
Other comments, questions? Seeing none, then we have a motion before us. If I could have a mover, please. Councillor Rob and Councillor McMillan, thank you. All in favor? And that is carried. All righty, correspondence items and information. Are there any items here that anyone would like to speak to or ask about? I don't see any hands. Oh, sorry. Yes, Councillor Manders.
Yeah, through you, Warden, I just had a question. I was just curious on the road closures, how emergency services are notified before and after.
Go ahead, Chris.
Through the warden, Councillor Manders, we have constant communication with EMS, fire, whatever associated emergency services, along with school buses and garbage collection for all of our long-term closures. So they're notified in a separate process from this. Obviously, we give them up-to-date notification of when the actual road closures start. John Elson, who's our health and safety officer at the county, does coordinate that communication. As you know, we do fire radio communications through the county. So we do the notification through dispatch, Stratford Caradoc, and then we provide that information to 911 and to MLPS, and then again to the different school bus companies and their garbage collection for those areas that are affected.
Anyone else? Very well, then you see that the motion before us is to receive the items 9D 1 through 6. If I could have a mover, please. Councillor Brennan and Councillor Grantham, all in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. All righty, we need to move into closed session. The motion before us. Oh, I forgot something. Oh, sorry. Yes, I skipped a line. That's the second time I've done that. I did that last week too, or last time, pardon me. Okay, so a mover and a seconder that the committee of the whole rise at 1:23. Councillor Smybert and, Councillor Manders, thank you very much. All in favor? And that is carried. Okay, now we can move to bylaws. We have bylaws 10A through 10E, and the motion is that we give those first and second reading. Please, mover and a seconder, Councillor Brennan and Councillor Grantham. Thank you. All in favor? And that is carried, and that the bylaws be given a third and a final reading. Mover, please. Councillor McMillan and Councillor Mayhew. Thank you. All in favor? And that is carried as well. Okay, our next meetings are on May 14th and May 28th, and then we'll be moving to June 25th. So unless anyone has any other items?
Yep, just quickly, well, 2 things, just a funny thing. It is amazing how fast the meetings go when Kathy's not here, Dave. I don't know if that's a coincidence. But I did, on a serious note, Ina and I are out on the trail. talking to local municipalities. We're in North Middlesex last week. Thank you, Brian, for hosting us, but we're going to be out to see each of you. And I'll just remind you once again that if there's things that are local in nature that you want us to talk about when we're out there that relate to the county or anything in advance, please let us know, because then we'll just focus on that. Right now, our presentation, I would say, Brian, is very general and it allows for a lot of open dialogue. But if there's any specific things, just send Ina or I a note and we'll make sure we highlight that and spend more time on it. That's all. Tonight, we're in the beautiful municipality of Newbury to see my good friend Diane Brewer, who I think most of you know. And if you don't, then you should. I think John and I were talking earlier. I think she's the longest serving mayor in this. I don't know what the record is in the world, not in the world, but in Middlesex probably. And it'll be nice to see our old friend Diane tonight. And but then we'll be able to see all the rest of you in the next month or two. So anyways, if you have ideas on what we can talk about at your local shop, then let us know.
I'll second that motion. Yeah, okay. Is there anyone else? Anything that comes to mind? No? Okay, in that case, the motion before us is that the meeting adjourn at 1:26 PM and I need a mover. Councillor Grantham, Councillor Clark, thank you. All in favor?